I'm feeling crazy now. Let's do a fucking podcast.
How crazy you feeling?
Crazy. Rip it how like I just did. 3 without exhaling. You'll feel it. I better take these out of here. God damn it. Actually, can you just set them by you?
And we're live.
We're live?
Yes.
This is The Long Trip. I'm your host, Gary Long, and this is my tech guy / co-host, Christian. We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves. I'm from the small little town of Etna Green, Indiana. I have no idea what their city population count is, but it's probably not much.
200.
Maybe 200. And few things I like to do. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I just like being outside. Honestly, I like the outdoors. I gotta be outside.
Longboarding.
Yeah, I love longboarding. You know, I've wrecked a lot of times. I love it though. It's a blast. I can't think of a lot of things I like to. I like to build shit. Honestly, I like building all kinds of stuff. Doesn't matter. Just as long as I'm using my hands, I don't mind it. Done a lot of farming as a kid. You know, lived on a farm, grew up on a farm. That kind of work. It's not too bad, but I like to shoot too. I love shooting. Shooting anything, it's the best. It's a blast blowing shit up, shooting. It's awesome. You never don't have a good time. Never.
You blew up a man once.
Yeah, we blew up a man at a party. Shout out to Nash Kern. It was a great time.
Yeah, but he's a professional though, so.
Yeah, he was a professional stunt devil, but it was still cool. I mean, how many people have been to a party where they blew up a guy? You know.
Feel that. My name is Christian Badillion. I'm from Logansport, Indiana. I currently am in college. I go to IPFW, Indiana, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. I love longboarding a lot. Longboard every day, back and forth from work and class, and just for fun.
It's the best.
My major is information technology, and a minor in computer science. I love computers and networking, and I want to eventually go into cybersecurity. And eventually, hopefully, one day have my own company.
Hell
That'd
yeah,
be
there's a
dope
lot
as
of
fuck.
future there.
And what else? I love shooting guns. Definitely, that's always a good time.
Hell yeah.
I haven't
See?
shot some in a while though. It's because I've been
Nobody
here.
doesn't have fun shooting guns. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you shoot yourself.
No,
Yeah,
we gotta go to
horrible.
the shooting range sometime soon.
Heck
It's
yeah.
cheap as fuck.
Yeah,
too.
it's like $5. What is it? The Freedom Firearms down the road. We're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Aaron, to you, by the way. We're at IPFW. We're both students here.
What's your major?
Construction engineering is my major. Like I said, I like to build shit. It's my thing.
What's your plans for the future?
Well, you know, I gotta go under somebody. I gotta get a good construction job, make some
Exactly.
decent money.
That's what I gotta do too. I gotta get experience first,
Yeah.
and then I can get my own company.
Yeah,
once
exactly. That's my plan too. I'd like to branch off eventually and start my own little gig and work for myself. I mean, that'd be the
100%.
best, but that's definitely my plan with it. But whether it goes there or not, who the heck knows?
I feel you. It might be a long time before I get my company started.
Oh heck yeah!
I have a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking the Cisco networking exams. They're like, some of them, like to get one certificate, you take like at least 3 exams and pass them all. And like each exam's like $150.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, the entry level ones, like the CCNT is like $150. And so like the higher up ones might be more expensive.
Yeah.
But it'll be worth it though. I can make up to like, well, I mean, if I start my own business, I can make a lot, but
yeah, for
just
sure.
like starting out, if I had like one of the higher certificates, I could make at least $300K a year.
Heck yeah.
That'd be dope as fuck.
Heck yeah. Well, so what our plan with this podcast is, we're gonna have a lot of guests on. We're gonna have a lot of people that are around here that are credible and know their stuff about a few things more than what we know, because we like to. I'm all about learning, and I'm no expert in most of the stuff I want to learn about. So we're trying to get a few guests on and do a few things like that. But our our topic range is gonna just be so broad, definitely broad.
Well, I mean, the goal would be to cover everything.
Yeah, I
but
mean, no one can
can't.
cover everything, but it's
So
just it's
pretty
just,
much anything.
yeah, it's literally just a hobby of ours to do this, and we're just trying to learn a bunch of stuff, that we're interested in, and we're like, well, we might as well have people on, and that can teach us about it and air it. Why not? Let other people learn about it too, and
You should tell them about the first dude we already have that's interested.
yeah, we got Eric Tiptman. Tiptman is how it is. He's a professor here at IPFW. And he's interested in coming on to our next episode, but we got to get it scheduled around and everything, and make sure it's gonna work out for him. He's a busy guy too, but he's on city council, I believe. Yeah, city council, and he's professor here. He's doing research with GMO and like gene splicing and stuff like that, and so it should be a good podcast. It's stuff I like to learn about. It's crazy what we can do now. You can literally you're practically making superhumans, but we're just not allowed to do it on
he
humans.
mutated his own.
He mutated his own
one
protein
that's never
cell.
been,
Yeah,
like, made before, then mutated it again.
yeah, he mutated on top of mutating. I like that. That's just crazy stuff we're doing now. I'd like to know a little bit more about it, and he's the guy to ask.
That's definitely gonna be your first strong
Yeah.
appearance. That'd be definitely a big heavy topic, especially since it's like stem cells are like illegal in United States, but it's like legal in I believe Mexico. But there's so much like research on it, like that benefits so many people.
Well, the reason it kind of got banned right off the bat, stem cell research.
Well, yeah, I could see that, but
Yeah,
now that there's enough sufficient
yeah, they were doing
resources
some
and-
messed
or,
up stuff
studies
right off
and-
the bat, but now they're doing it more out. They're not doing crazy stuff like killing babies and stuff like that. They're just doing it through umbilical cords and just it's a lot
more humane.
Yeah, definitely a lot more humane. So, we got a few questions we kind of came up with to just talk about, and just for you to get to know us, get to know like a little bit about our opinions on a few things.
The way we think.
Yeah,
and
just
whatnot.
mainly the way we think. We're pretty broad people, open-minded. I'd like to think. And one of our questions is, what do you think is in the ocean? We only discovered what is it 5% of the entire ocean, and that makes up 75% or 73% of the world.
Yeah.
So we've only discovered that little bit of our entire world. It's like, what the heck is in there? What the heck
There
is
could
in
be a
there?
lot of different things. Well, I believe crocodiles, I think, and alligators are prehistoric animals. There could be a lot of prehistoric animals down there, and I'm sure there are.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like
I think
even, like,
megalodons have to still exist. They were the giant sharks. I don't know if people know about megalodons, but they're literally the biggest
they're
predator
like as
known
big
to
as
man.
yachts and shit.
Yeah, they're like 60. They could get up to like 60 feet long, and they had to. They're
Or
basically
small yachts. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy lengths that they would get up to. They're the predator of the ocean. And, you can watch some documentaries about this stuff, and there will just be, whales that have giant bite marks out of this. And, only thing that could have that kind of force was known to man was megalodon, and they're showing
But
up
then
today.
it could have been something else, too. Like, we've only discovered 5%.
Who
That'd be
the heck
crazy.
knows,
Loch Ness
a megalodon
Monster.
is just one of the things. It could have been,
Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness. You never freaking know.
Could be something crazy you never discovered.
Yeah, who the heck
Even
knows?
bigger than a megalodon,
Like they just now discovered giant squids. They just now discovered giant squids are real, and them are crazy, freaking beasts.
You know how big they are?
I don't know how big they are. They are insanely big, though. I know they can just swallow buildings.
What?
They can literally not swallow them, but they can they're big as buildings. They're huge. How big is a giant squid?
They say it really exceeds. They say they claim specimens measuring about 20 meters or 66 feet, which is
That's huge.
a megalodon.
That's huge. Yeah, it could probably fuck with megalodon.
I think
That's crazy.
they say the length of the excluding tentacles, is like 16 feet.
The length of
But
the
that's
tentacle.
like minus its head and like body and shit and all that shit. So like that's.
Damn. Just a tentacle.
Mhm.
Jeez. I don't know. I think there could be all kinds of like mer people. Mer people could be out there.
100%.
You don't even know. You have no idea. There's so many counts of mer people. You know, like sightings and all that good stuff. Like, who the heck knows what the heck?
You don't
is
know how
out
the
there?
Earth evolved. Like
Exactly.
we evolved the way we did, but like.
Maybe someone evolved to stay in the water.
Mhm. Exactly.
Maybe there's like a good example is a river will flow a different way and split through the land and divide two of the same species. Like it'll be like two tigers. For example, tigers are a good example. There's tigers in Africa, I think. They're they're lions. They're lions in Africa that if the river flowed differently and divided the continent that way, and now these tigers over there. Or lions, I keep saying tigers, but the lions over there are just massive because the only animal that they could prey on was water buffalo. And water buffalo are tough motherfuckers, and they're like the hardest. Their skin's tough. Everything about them are tough, and they are only in groups. They don't single out. But the lions, that was all their prey was there to sustain them. So they grew giant. They're giant lions like they exist today. So it's like, why the heck? If a lion that we know is today could grow to that size, why couldn't something, maybe a man
100%.
evolved to be in the water? You don't know.
I wonder how big they'd be though.
Yeah, how big would they be? Would they grow smaller?
Well, I mean, if they like evolved to be like intelligent beings like us, I wouldn't say they'd be. They would probably be a little bit bigger because they want to. They kind of like be out of the water. I mean, there's many different reasons.
Yeah.
There's larger creatures in the ocean.
They got to be fast, so they got to be decent size at least. They got to be super fast to, I imagine it would be super quick.
100%. Also, like even like in some regions of I think the Amazon, like birds, just because like the different shapes and like sizes or different ways plants are made, they even spread off into just different evolutions.
Finches, the
like
first,
different like hummingbirds
Yeah.
have different sized beaks,
yeah,
but like the longer ones, well, I was watching actually on Planet Earth. They said that all the majority of the hummingbirds have smaller beaks, and so they all fight for the plants and stuff. But there's a species of longer beak ones.
yeah, I watched that
Where
episode.
but there's a small, less many of them than are the
Yeah.
short beaks, so they survive more because they can get into like the deeper
Yeah,
plants.
like
But
there-
like
there's
the
all those
downside to
plants
that is
around,
like
yeah.
it's like they said it was like the majority either of the body weight or more of their body weight it weighed, so they had to like take breaks off and stuff. But
yeah,
just like
because of how
things can
big
just
their beak
evolve
was, yeah.
differently, even in just like the same area.
Yeah, like they had to clean
they all
themselves
live
differently
together and
because their
stuff.
beak was so long.
They actually the ones with the long ones actually do it just like dogs. They
Yeah,
pick up
yeah,
their
they
leg and just
itch with
fucking
their
scratch
yeah.
their neck and shit.
Yeah, they're the only species of hummingbirds that does that, I think.
No, there's a whole other section about like what's in the water. Like even we haven't discovered everything on the fucking earth. Like
Yeah,
ground,
literally
but
on the
there could be like
land.
medicines and other different like herbs or
We're
different
finding new species
fungus and algae
alone,
and
like frogs secrete different chemicals. Frogs are very valuable, and they secrete all these different chemicals that we use in medicine today. So, and we're discovering new frogs, all kinds of different beings, and we can discover how they work. Like maybe we discover there's a being out there in the rainforest that is immune to cancer, and then we can fight cancer. There's
they
all
actually
that.
I read something about some sort of, I think it's a wasp. I don't remember exactly where it's located, but it has this chemical in its like venom called like M40 or like M42 or something like that. That it has like very anti-cancer agents in it.
Really?
Yes.
How the heck you discover that?
They just found the wasp and you just studied it and its venom
yeah.
and just had some of that. I don't know much more about it or
Yeah.
didn't read any studies if it like
Really? That would be crazy.
how effective it was or anything. but
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of
But just like that's just like one thing we discovered.
That's
We
just
haven't
one
discovered
species.
everything.
That's just one
And there's
species on
plenty
land.
more medicines and stuff out there that we've already discovered, and there's plenty more that we haven't discovered.
There's plenty of aquatic life out there that we don't even have an idea of what's out there. We have no idea.
Well, I mean, like even like finding new species would be sort of beneficial to man. Like a dolphin has an echo sensor, like, and it's built in its head, but it's so much more efficient, better than any like man-made echoes thing that we've made. So if we just study like its brain and how it functions, eventually we can do it and pull off just like them.
Yeah, we can maybe figure out an entirely new way to communicate.
Well, the thing is though, I read another study that was actually recent. Actually, I think it came out like roughly a year ago. That was in Sweden, or like in the Swedish area or whatever. That they said the brain works in like 11 dimensions, and so I feel like
the brain works in 11 dimensions.
That's the only way they could
1D, 2D, all that.
That's the only way they could. I can't remember. Figure out mathematically. I mean, it's a theory. They haven't proven it yet. Or anything, but
I mean, gravity's
just
a theory.
So like I mean like if we just study like the dolphin's brain, it could lead us to different discoveries on how the brain works, how it does in multiple different dimensions, which makes the echo sensor locator in their head work so efficiently. It's because it works in more dimensions than how we do.
And like
whatever.
I like one thing I heard. I think Joe Rogan was talking about it, but he was talking about how he like, you know, if you farted and you didn't have a sense of smell, like, you wouldn't even know. This is like, maybe there's so many different senses out there that
like, we
that
don't know because we
things.
can't feel or hear them or see them or whatever it may be. But whatever the sense is, but maybe a different animal can. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why the sonar from those dolphins is so effective. We don't even, because it's a sense. It's not something made by man. You know, it's not something recreated. It is a sense in your mind. You can't recreate the smell of what dogs can do. Like, you can a little bit, but you're not gonna smell what they smell. You know.
Well, actually, I did look up something like that. They say that human noses, I think, can either work just as well as dogs or even better. But the thing is that we're just not trained, and that there was like multiple other reasons why we don't, because of all like the chemicals we intake and like smell, like the air fresheners. It messes with our
sense of smell,
senses and stuff. But they say that if we trained like even a human, it could be even better than a dog's, or just work just as well.
Really?
Yeah, we just don't. There's just multiple different variables that why we can't.
Yeah. But we could actually do it. That's pretty crazy. What else do you think is in there? I definitely think Atlantis is in there. I mean, obviously.
Well, I mean, if there's mermaids or mermans or what and everything, then and if they're intelligent in any way, and if they have, if they're mermaids and mermans, then they probably have hands. That means they could build and stuff too. So if they're intelligent enough to build, there
Atlantis
could be
was a
like
city
underground waters and or
like, wasn't it a city,
cities,
underwater
cities.
Wasn't it a city above ground though that sunk, or wasn't that the legend of Atlantis or something?
I'm sure there's like many different stories, and I don't know where it was in. But yes, there's stories.
It's a lost city.
Yeah, I'm sure there could be many more.
Yeah, and why couldn't it have just sunk into the ocean? And like I said, we only discovered 5% of that. We have no idea. There's a reason we haven't found it. Like, there's a lot of stuff we have not found out there.
There's a lot of places we can't reach either. So we have to like discover the technology to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, the
most efficient and productive
Mariana
way.
Trench or whatever. The
Mariana Trench.
Yeah, the Mariana. Sure. Yeah.
It's like, it's bigger than Mount Everest, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And how deep it was.
That's super deep. And when as far as they went down, I think they kept discovering new organisms.
Every time they just found some new thing.
Something new. In the same spot. They're literally like dropping a rock down there. Into a puddle.
They just look around.
Yeah, they just discovered that little spot of the ocean. They have no idea what is along the trench, down the trench, You know, it's a trend. You know, they have no idea what's all the way down there. They don't know what's up there. They have no freaking clue.
There could be a lot of cures and stuff up there though, and a lot of medicine and different things that could help
It has
people.
to be.
Natural
to be.
things.
Natural, like even through plants. Like there's the aquatic plant life down there has to. I bet we discover all kinds of new species down there. I mean, just look how many different species of aquatic plants are in the coral reefs. Just so many different ones. And so, like, there's just got to be millions of different ones out there that we don't even have an idea of.
100%.
We got a couple more questions. What's the other one we were going to talk about?
Time period.
Time period?
Yeah.
What time period would you go back to, and why? Why would you go back to that time period?
I feel like I would probably. Well, would I be born there, or would I like time travel?
Probably time travel. You like come back.
Hmm.
You go there.
Well, I
to
think I
learn
definitely want to go in the future, 100%.
into the future.
100%. I want to see the crazy stuff
Really?
that happens. Like, I mean, like, the world can go in like many different ways. There
Yeah,
could be
but
a
why would you wanna
total
go there, like-
apocalypse. We kill ourselves, nuclear warfare, or all
Yeah, but
the
like
gases we put in
the
the
moment you
fucking
go
air.
into the future, it changes.
Well, the moment you go in past, you fuck with something. It changes the future and the present.
Yeah, you're right. So say that
Well, let's
you
just
go.
let's
you
just
go
put it
in-
in a constant where it doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
the visit.
Yeah, 100%. Just the visit. What would you go and see? You would definitely see the future.
100%.
Definitely see the future. I would have to go back. I would definitely go back into the time of like Christ, like when Jesus was around, like, because then I would know. I would
Yeah.
know everything.
100%.
There would be no speculation of anything. There would be no question
You would
in my
know.
mind. I would 100%. I would have been there. I would know what went on. I would know for a fact. All the things in the Bible were true, or all the things in the Bible were fake. I would know.
Well, I mean,
It would be proof.
there's a lot of different things to say about it. They say it's not trustworthy because it was like translated many times.
Well, even just the many different times it was translated, most of them were honestly like translating through language was decently close. But the one that was probably the worst was the one. What was it? Ancient Hebrew or whatever it was originally wrote in,
yeah,
where
probably.
they had number systems into the words with it too. So like
That's where it could got fucked up. But
that-
not only that is
yeah.
like, if you like, the history is written by the victors, so the people who are in power.
Yeah.
And there's like how
Yeah.
it says greedy, money, power, don't care about anything else but.
Yeah, and
but
just look
get
at how
money
many
and-
times civilization has destroyed the past to avoid it. Like, look at Hitler. How many books and shit did he just burn? He just burned a bunch of books just to destroy that past knowledge.
Well, that's what the people like the Templars back then. They say because of that they were in power, they could dictate everything, and therefore they could write what they wanted and put the view in their own perspective, the way they thought and everything, and that, which is why there is some fucked up shit in the Bible, and that could be a lot of reasons
Yeah.
why there is, because they were just in power and they could just do whatever they wanted with it and alter things because they just
Yeah,
had that
100%.
power.
There were
They
so
had the
many corrupt
military.
people that went through it. Yeah.
And then there's another theory that they were just all on drugs.
Yeah,
And tripping
that
DMT and
tripping.
all that other shit. And
Yeah.
they just, I mean, which doesn't, like, to me, doesn't give it less credibility because, like, people, like, my own experiences and, like, other people's experiences I've heard through psychedelics is very realistic. The experience is just, it's hard to explain.
It's
And
new,
so,
it's
like,
a new reality.
So,
It's like your brain being projected.
but you don't know what it is, though, so the best way, they just had to wrote down what the things they got out of it, the lessons or whatever they got out of
Yeah.
it, and that's what they wrote down in the Bible. I mean, and then again, it could have been a mixture of all those factors.
So that's why I would definitely want to go back there because I would know. You would know immediately what was real.
Well, I feel like I don't know. Maybe in the future, I don't know if it'll matter. I mean, it depends on how civilization goes, but
Yeah, who the heck knows what's in the future?
I feel like one day we were talking about, or I looked up some videos and information on. There's this asteroid belt that we're at our planet is getting close to, and that's why it's not. That's why we see a lot of meteors recently,
Is that like
and
the
why we discovered a lot. But the thing is that a lot of the times we've discovered it, they've either already passed or like they're almost like nearby. And so it kind of scares me, to be honest, because if they've already passed, what if one's not even right at us? But like, we're not even even in it yet. And they say, I can't remember the time frame it was, how long it'd be there. But
that
all I
could
know is
be
that
that
we're
could be
getting
the reason
closer.
for like the the meteor that destroyed dinosaurs and stuff, like those.
I mean,
catas-
if it hits us,
yeah.
we're fucked.
Oh
Depending on the
yeah,
size
like
of
what
it.
was it in the 70s? We almost had a meteor hit the Earth, and if it would have hit the Earth, it would have completely blew up the Earth.
I haven't read anything about that though, but I mean,
But like it
I mean,
missed
we're
the
getting
Earth.
close and closer to it, so I'm sure like there was one that was close enough to freak people out and
Yeah.
worry about. But I mean, there's nothing we can do.
No, nothing. I mean, they'll probably.
Thank Elon Musk for trying to go to Mars.
Yeah, Elon Musk. I mean, literally the only thing I could see them trying to do would be like to go out onto the meteor beforehand.
Like the
And-
movie Armageddon.
Yeah, and basically like drill into it and
Cut it in
nuke
half
it,
and
nuke it
spreads
and try and split
Yeah.
it. That would be the only way. Or if it's just gonna like glance us, to maybe just shoot a missile at it and like try and direct its.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is though, when they get that big, they draw in gravity. They're pulling shit into them.
So it could alter the missile too, and then other asteroids. If it's pointed at us, it could alter other asteroids
Yeah.
around it and aim it
Yeah.
at us.
Exactly. It could. There's so much stuff it could do when it's that size and it coming right at us. Most of them, the meteors that would come in towards the Earth or that are out there could easily destroy the Earth. Like
They kill us.
it would destroy everything, like blow up the Earth. They're that
Well,
size.
that's another reason why I hate how the world it is today, because we should be cooperating and working together.
Exactly.
So we can avoid these apocalyptic
Like, what the he-
catastrophes where, like, I mean,
It's
like,
20
if it hits Earth, it's going to kill a lot of
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
But, like, then we'll be on, like, if we work together, maybe in a few years we'll be on different planets or discover different technology, because we're
Exactly.
not sitting here fucking killing each other
We're on this
and
planet.
fighting.
We have to keep the planet healthy. We're getting too crazy. We're getting too big of a population, and it's affecting the Earth crazily. Mass extinction of not only plants but animals, all this stuff. We're just messing this place up. We gotta find a
there was
way
a
to
species of
get
tiger that went
together.
extinct a few months ago, which is sad.
That what?
That went extinct.
What was it? A species of what?
A tiger. I'm
A
pretty sure.
tiger?
I can't remember the species, but
No kidding.
which is shitty though.
Well, but that's one thing that we have been getting a lot better at is letting things go extinct. Like modern day times compared to like back in the 30s, they were just shooting everything, killing everything. Now we've realized that we got to preserve the wildlife, but the only thing we haven't started preserving is like aquatic life. That's still no limit, free game. I mean, it's limited in like lakes, but the ocean
I
there
feel
isn't.
like, well, I mean, the water takes up 3/4 of the Earth, so I'm sure there's plenty. But
True, but I mean, I bet we also kind of run it dry a little bit.
Probably.
At least the big ones, the big like tuna. Those are already a lot more rare than what they used to be.
But that's why I feel like we should just be working together though, so we can avoid
Yeah.
fucking-
Why? What the heck is the point in all this other crap? Like, oh,
I mean, like
you're over there
the
in
very
that
basis
country.
of life is to reproduce
Exactly.
and to pass on information and knowledge and to
Exactly.
to what you reproduce, and then they reproduce, and it's just to pass on life and keep living.
Exactly. But with humans, we pass on knowledge.
Well, that's because we just have the intellect and
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
ability to think that way, and the language to be able to speak those words that other people understand.
Well, we're talking space shit, so if you got sent to another planet, or like if the option rose, like say, they're like, listen, we can get there. We can get to this other planet and we can inhabit it safely and everything. Like we got it all planned out. Would you go?
100%.
I don't know.
That'd be just just like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
You want to know my only thought about it, why I wouldn't go, is because I know I would die there.
Mm-hmm.
I would die there. Like,
See,
you would
that's
die.
my problem. I leave like my friends and family and stuff. That'd be the worst part of it.
Like, you're not coming back. It's a one-way ticket.
And that's why I was on the fence about it, though. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
like,
I mean,
it
if
would
the-
be.
I would never know until the opportunity arises. But what's the possibility of that? But like, I mean, like,
Yeah.
still like going to like
Another planet.
Like,
Another
who else is
planet.
gonna experience that?
It's like what we were just talking about, like going back in time or going back in. You are there. You are the first one to actually see it. You are there at that moment. You can hear about it and read about it, but no. Some
will
things just
compare.
have to be experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I would definitely want to go, but I don't know if I could, just because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I would die there. You would die there, 100%. You wouldn't, like, you're not gonna come back. They're not
I
gonna be
agree.
sending people back. They're
Well,
gonna
that's
send
the
people
point of you
there.
being there, is to go reproduce and stuff and
Yeah.
work together to build a civilization.
How crazy would it be though to go to there and then you're like, the people you land with, yep, we're it. We're the only people here.
Well, actually that'd be kind of scary because there's not a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of ignorant, small-minded people out there. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'd hope they'd pick very intelligent,
Yeah.
open-minded
people,
but if they
that could
don't
get
like,
along and figure out exactly what needs to get done, and
because then like if you don't and you work with very small mind, like even a few would be a problem because
Yeah.
some people are just so set in their ways, it'd just be an issue.
yeah,
It'd be hard. It can make things way more difficult.
exactly.
So that would suck, but I don't know. It'd still be crazy.
I
to
think
do.
I think if humans are so adaptable that, like, put in that situation, I think we would get it together, come together, just to, in the same sense. Like, I'm like,
That makes sense. Yeah, because like we have to, otherwise
exactly.
we die. Or
Yeah, it's like
we
either
don't-
you don't get
Yeah.
get your shit together,
like
or
you're
you're
sent there
gonna
to
die.
do a job. So I'm pretty sure they want to send people like that because I'm pretty sure like everyone they would send would have like a very important role in
Yeah.
some way.
Exactly.
So would you go though, or
I think I would. I just know that would be an experience worth experiencing. Like, it'll be unlike anything you've ever done in your entire life. Anything. So that alone would intrigue me. Like, if someone led a line, like, hey, go watch this movie. It'll be unlike anything you've ever experienced. You probably go watch that damn movie. You'll be like, I mean, that guy said that. I mean, I'm interested.
hell yeah.
A couple people are saying that. I would probably go watch that movie. So, like, what's the difference? I mean, there's a huge difference. Like, it's life or death, really. But I would probably want to go for sure. But put in the situation of leaving family, leaving friends, and
'Cause,
just to
like-
go die, just to die. That is your purpose. You're going to reproduce and die there. You're going to be the first beings there, and you're going to just, if you make it,
If you
you know,
make it.
you hope that they got everything figured out, but there's probably something there that they didn't think of. I mean, we're just literally looking at it.
I mean, it's a hard shit. There's a lot that goes into it. So
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Like,
one fuck up could be a big fuck up. And we
Exactly.
all die, and that's a lot of money. And I mean,
You could blow up on the launch. It's simple. Like, all these things could be leading against it, but
not only that is like when we'd have to like say go to a place like Mars, we'd have to build a giant one for the whole like
Yeah.
resources and just
yeah,
other
because
things. A
that's
lot of
like
people.
a 4-year
You need
trip.
a lot of people too.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they want to make it smaller, then they'd have to make multiple ships.
You have to have an
So-
oxygen supply, actually.
That too.
You have to have a
Anything
source
goes wrong with
of
that, you're
oxygen.
dead.
Yeah.
There's so many different fucking
Exactly.
variables.
Literally so many things that could go wrong, and just in the trip over there. Let alone when you get there, then you're in.
Yeah, but still, like once you get out into space and like see space,
Oh, that would be
that
crazy.
would be insane.
It'd be crazy. I couldn't imagine just being out there and just seeing how tiny we really are. I couldn't imagine. We're like, we're this, and that's a star right there, that giant ball that's a million times bigger than this little planet. And look at all of them out there. I couldn't even imagine. You would literally, it would humble anyone, I think. It would have to. You're like, yeah, you're a speck. You're speck in this.
Yeah, you're nothing.
Nothing.
You're just a little speck in the universe.
Exactly.
Worthless.
And you're worried about when your next car payment's coming. Kind of shit. We're worried about that, and we're just a speck. It's crazy stuff. What's another one we were gonna talk about?
What is one thing that we have now that we won't have in the future, or you think we won't have?
We were talking about this a little bit before the podcast, and I definitely think the wires, everything's gonna be wireless in the future. There's not going to be wires anywhere.
I feel like there's going to be just, like, a lot less in, like, technology, because I feel like eventually we're going to get so good, like,
I think
like, we're in the
start
information
combining
area right now. They say a lot of reading and videos I watch and documentaries I watch say the next area is augmentation, which is augmenting humans and putting technology into humans, and I feel like there's just going to be a lot less technology in general. It's all going to just be you're connected to the internet or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah. Like, we're not going to have a phone and a computer and a TV. Like, we're going to that's all going to be in one.
You send a text message, you think it, and you send it.
Yeah. It's all going to be in our brain. We're going to see it. If we
want
to project something, exactly, we're going to, I could see it going there real fast. But wires are going to be the first to go, I think. 100%. Wires,
well, yeah.
They're going. It's crazy that the internet that we all run off of is ran off of just wires in the ocean.
Wires inland, too.
Yeah, but
they're just giant fiber optic cables just
huge.
Deep in the ground.
That's just crazy that's how we're doing it. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
it started out as just a few colleges, and then people were like, this is awesome. And they're like, there's so much potential in applications. I mean, look where it went. It's everything today.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Can do anything
on
it.
But also look at the potential just to kill everything. You can go in the ocean. Like what? I think the Russians are threatening it or something like that. Maybe not the Russians. I don't know. But there's potential there that somebody could just shoot a missile down there and blow up our internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could freaking happen.
Well, no one wants to do that because everyone's connected to the internet. The enemy's going to need internet.
Exactly.
But the thing is, even if they, like, the only ones that are under the oceans are probably the ones just connecting countries, or maybe, like, South America, or not South America, Europe and North America. I don't know if they did that or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of them are inland. Like, even if they, like, exploded that one, all we are is cut off from Europe, if that line exists.
Yeah, but
we're
imagine
still connected
the chaos
to Canada,
in our place,
South America, Mexico, North America, which, I mean, a lot of the technology and leading technology is all in America anyways. As long as you're connected to North America, you'll be fine, have access to everything. But
yeah,
I mean, that's all it would do. Wouldn't be that big of a problem.
Yeah, I could see that, but it'd still.
I mean, it'd be a problem because he's nuking a fucking or missiling wires for no fucking reason. So I mean,
what else? There's gotta be something else that we think.
We were talking about space and shit, and like going like to different planets. We gotta talk about Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a crazy man. He's a crazy man that's kind of scaring me a little.
Well, they let him do whatever he wants. He's drilling under L.A. right now.
Well,
they were like, I want to build this tunnel and stuff because it'd be more efficient for here. Do it.
Yeah. Like, they let him do what he wants because he's smarter than almost all of the human beings.
He has so many different projects running right now. He has multiple different companies. He's doing he has the car line Tesla. Then he has the Tesla trucks coming out. I don't know if they're the Tesla trucks, but they're his trucks that are like automated by themselves, can drive by themselves. And
Are they were electric. They semi trucks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's digging under L.A. He's going to fucking Mars, and there's plenty of other projects he's doing that I don't know of. He's affiliated with AI and shit. I think there was some video on a pill for altering your cognition and making it way more efficient, way more smarter, or something like that. I can't remember that.
Really,
pill
like
he's working
like
on.
a nanobites kind of shit, or
No,
just
just
like
a pill,
chemical?
like a chemical pill
No
that
shit.
just makes your brain just work crazy smart and way more effective.
I see that coming 100%. We're gonna, like you're saying, altering technology in humans. I see us altering ourselves before technology.
It could be both. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
technically doing both because we're testing it.
But like,
and
wouldn't
stuff,
wouldn't the first thing we do be not to put like an iPhone in our forearm? I would
well,
imagine
that's
the
what you would
first.
think. I would try to want to keep it like as natural as possible.
Yeah, I would think the first thing I would
and
want to do
evolve
is like
naturally, but like
make us better as a human. Like, what is our weaknesses? Our weaknesses is we're damn near as fragile as a balloon. We get poked, we're gonna bleed, and our skin's that fragile. That's damn near what it is. So things like that, I would imagine we start evolving and getting stronger. Like we're pretty weak. You know, we could.
well, a
be
lot
a
of that
lot bigger,
contributes
you know?
to our very sedimentary lifestyle and a very comfortable lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah,
We're not out
100%.
every day hunting at like
Yeah, we're
how
not-
we evolved to do and
We're not
be.
chasing down mammoths anymore. We're
So our
spears.
skin definitely isn't as tough as what it should
Yeah.
be. Plus, like all the other things with like being temperature controlled rooms, it affects
Yeah,
our
yeah.
immune system and how we feel. That's why everyone.
Yeah, we evolved to be.
That's why women
sissies.
like it at 80 degrees because
Yeah.
it just cold is. And anything less is just
Yeah.
cold. It's because they're not used to it. It's because they're not outside like how we evolved, and we're outside. It's really cold to us, but to them it was probably nothing. It was normal because
They're
that's just they lived
weenies.
through it, and that was just what they were used to.
Yeah, you're right. I feel like we were definitely a lot tougher back. Like we had to been. We were just rolling
we'd have
in
a better
dirt
immune
every day.
system too, and whatnot too.
Yeah, our immune system had to have been crazier.
Well, the thing
They were
is, that
eating
the
raw
way for an
meat.
immune system to advance is to be subjected to those germs and bacteria.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
for our bodies to understand how to fight them, we have to get them in our system.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly, yeah.
with all the medication and just being
Vaccines.
as sterile as possible and shit,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
why we're just so much more likely to get
Mm-hmm.
affected. And so, I mean, we have vaccines that prevent like polio and stuff, which is, I mean, help. But like people get like sick more often with like maybe the flu, the common things. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Exactly.
And then when we alter that, even like the flu, I believe is a virus, and so it mutates often, like every year. Like it killed a lot of people this past year, or a lot more than
yeah,
it did.
yeah. This year with the flu virus was
It went
crazy.
crazy.
I think everyone was damn near guaranteed to get sick from it.
I didn't get sick, thank God. I didn't get the vaccine either.
I didn't get the vaccine, but there was like 2 weeks where I was sicker than a dog. I was done.
Could have been the flu.
Oh yeah,
To
I'm
be
sure it was, but I got it before everyone else. I got it in like October, and then everyone else started getting it flu season. Like December.
I don't know what flu season is. But
I really don't either. I just named I literally just named a month. I was like, yeah, that's probably when people get sick. December.
that's when it gets cold. That's when I get my cold. I actually had a lot of food. I got food poisoning like 3 times last year. That was all because of yogurt. Every
Food
time.
poisoning?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Eat
It was
bad?
old, I guess, and I ate it, and it was
It didn't
bad.
taste bad.
No.
Well, yogurt tastes bad to me. Period. But it's awful. I don't like
Food
it.
poisoning is the worst because like you
Yeah.
can't even keep down water.
You
like
can't keep nothing down.
you drink a sip of water. Like how my days went is I throw up, and 15 minutes later I had the shits, and then 15 minutes later I throw up again, and 15 minutes later it's just
Yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah, and
and
you
that was
almost-
just like a sip of water.
yeah.
and
You
like
almost
and I'm vomiting so much that like it's not even water anymore, it's just bile, and like I started like bleeding and stuff because I was just throwing up nothing and just acid.
Yeah, it's and then that's when you get so dehydrated.
But that's why made me want to keep drinking water.
Yeah,
though.
you were so dehydrated. Yeah.
You had to keep hydrating and fighting it, and I mean you need something to throw up, otherwise you're throwing up acid.
You
and then
gotta
I
you
was
gotta
literally
flush
bleeding,
it out.
it
That's the
hurt.
whole You gotta flush it out with some liquids and then sweat it out, and that's how. But yeah, we're doing that in nice, comfortable homes. They used to be doing that in minus 40 degrees, and they just had buffalo skins on them, just sweating out and scared. They were like, "I'm dying now."
To be honest, I would like if I did go back instead of like the future, I just want to go back to more simpler days, like an Indian lifestyle.
Indian lifestyle is
Just
the way we're
being
supposed
with
to
your
live.
family and friends, and just
Yeah.
hunting and
The way
game and
yeah.
feeding your family and stuff.
they were literally like the definitions of shepherds of the land, I feel like, which is kind of contradictory because, I mean, honestly, if you really look into it, they were going to mass extinct the buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look into it, they were harvesting buffalo like crazy.
I mean, like,
but
I would rather be doing that instead of the mass extinction we've done today.
But look at, I mean, even in that contradictory, look at how they were harvesting buffalo and how we harvest them. You know, how
because
how
the way we
America-
harvest them
we
is through
just-
business. We need them, so we have to have them reproduce.
Well, no, I mean at the time we were just shooting them for like the hide. That was it. We just skin them and everything. How they would do it, they would eat everything, the eyes, everything. They used every single part of it. That's harvesting. That's harvesting of the land. That's what we were meant to do. We were meant
I
to
agree.
graze and harvest the land, just like every other animal in this whole world.
That's how life goes.
Exactly. We were meant to live here and
You
just
live to die and fight to live,
and
and
reproduce.
then you die, and that's used to continue other life.
Yeah.
That uses, and then someone else uses that life to continue their life, and it's just a giant
Exactly.
circle.
This isn't on our list, but how crazy is it that you can transfer knowledge through DNA?
Well, DNA is just information.
Yeah, but like that just opens up the realm of how little we know about it. That's what's crazy to me. So like, you know, how recent is really DNA discovery? It's super recent. And so we're just breaking the cracks of it and we can discover that, you know, like the reason a lot of people have fears as a child or fear the dark or fear like monsters is because of our DNA as when we were older. When the dark time is when the monsters came out, you know, like pumas and cougars and stuff coming at you. Yeah, it's scary stuff, and they naturally know how to fear it.
I think that might just be survival instincts. Just like
But
just at
they're-
night,
but
you're like
they're
it's night, you
transferred.
can't see, so you're just scared something get you, and that's just survival instincts.
A
I
little
feel
bit,
like.
but then babies are the only thing that are naturally afraid of snakes. Like right off the bat, babies fear snakes, like human babies. That is a DNA transferred knowledge.
Mhm.
They know.
Okay. that
Even
ma-
as a baby, they know that snakes are bad.
I think I was watching Planet Earth. I don't remember, but they were talking about lizards, or some type of reptile that they live like by the sea, but then they go like inland and like bury their eggs in sand, and like they leave and hatch, but in
Mhm.
between that's just snakes. And
Oh,
so
yeah, that was definitely Planet
some
Earth.
are born and know to some wait for like the other ones to go
Yeah,
get
they're
captured, and then
born with-
they'll go, and they just know, but they
They're
were just
born with
born.
that. They were literally
So that
just
does make
born.
sense.
Yeah. Those animals were literally just born. They have no knowledge of the world other than 5 minutes, 5 minutes of the world, and they know to let the other ones go first because the snakes will just tear them up. That's what I'm talking about. That is crazy stuff. That DNA transfers that kind of knowledge. The DNA, just the DNA. That's all we are built off of.
Well, in that case, then that means DNA changes.
Changes, yeah.
Depending
it's
on its
changeable.
environment, it adapts.
It adapts. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. It adapts not only like you're born with brown hair kind of adaptation, and then brown hair is dominant. It doesn't adapt just like that. It adapts through your personal knowledge while you were alive. That knowledge can be transferred. That's what's crazy to me. That is insane stuff. That while you were alive, just what you've learned and what you've experienced can be transferred.
They were
And we don't even know how much can be transferred. We just know simple
well,
things.
I'm sure it could be anything. Maybe things we don't even
Yeah, it
haven't
would have
thought
to be.
about. It could be anything.
Like I said, we're
It doesn't
just
even have to
cracking
be
it.
like fears.
Yeah,
It could be things that make you happy or something. I don't know.
yeah.
But I was it's been a while since I read up on this, but they were talking about programming and DNA using like how to be able to. They had a software that allowed them to program like DNA, and they were making some crazy ass like viruses off. I can't go too in detail with it because it's been so long since I read it.
Hopefully,
But
our
they were
guest will-
coding in DNA and coding DNA, and they're just making crazy shit with it, and
All right.
crazy viruses
I'll
and
be
stuff
honest
like
with
that.
you. I gotta piss so bad, and I have to go now. You're gonna have to talk about something by yourself.
I don't know what the fuck to talk about. I have nothing to ramble about. You're a piece of shit. How you doing over there? He's a pussy. He's worthless. I need another beer. And a blunt. We were just talking about how much of a piece of shit you were for leaving and how much of a pussy you were 'cause she could hold it.
I'll take that.
You should. Well, we're 52 minutes into our first podcast.
2 minutes. We're doing great. We're doing great. So we talked about what. All right, what we gotta talk about this one. What's This may be a badly worded question, but what do you think is one thing that our parents' generation had going for them that we don't? Like what's one thing that they got going that they had right that we changed and you don't think we should have changed? I'll go first. I think they're way tougher. They were way tougher individuals, and I think that
I feel like they just cared about a lot less. Like they didn't care about like other people's opinion. They didn't have.
it's because they were tougher. They were
Yeah,
tougher.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like even mentally, just
Yeah,
like,
they were tougher because they went through tougher stuff. Like think about our parents' generation, maybe our grandparents, depending. But that was Vietnam. We went through a lot of wars through that time, and most of the people went through that kind of stuff. Most of the men went through that, and so they come back into natural civilization with all the mental stuff that they just went through that messed them up, whether they admit it or not. It messed them up, and they were just tougher. They were just 100 times tougher. And they didn't have the technology that we have that makes our lives a lot easier. They didn't have much of that, so they just
I feel
had
like
to
a
do
lot
a
of the
lot more
technology
stuff.
that we have now is a reason why we aren't as tough with like all the insecurities.
Yeah, exactly.
You need the
We get
social media recognition and likes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
we got
People
to
feed
hide
off
behind.
of that.
We got to hide behind a world that we created. They were living the world. Like they didn't even have this world that we created. They barely had computers. They barely had calculators. Like
Sure.
imagine
And
our
their calculators were
Imagine our lives without a simple calculator. I could pull one up on my phone literally at any moment. If I don't even have my phone, I'm sure I could pull up a calculator almost any direction I turn. Somebody will have a damn calculator.
Well, everyone has one on their phone now.
Exactly. So I could go up to anyone and say,
Always have
"Hey,
one.
can you put that on your calculator?" That's just knowledge that's just not as valuable as it was to them. They had to know how to do mathematics, and understand it. To us, we were raised with calculators and Google. It's simple stuff like memorization terminology that they had to know. Like we don't even. it doesn't matter anymore.
They actually had a lot of the stuff like a calculator can do. They had in the back of they had to continuously look up in the back of the book for answers that they couldn't work through, like maybe like logarithms, harder algebra and calculus.
Yeah, exactly.
But now we got this thing, so this can do everything.
This
a lot of times you don't even calculate anymore. You can download like graphing calculators and stuff on your phone now.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like that.
If
Instead of going out buying a
literally-
$200 graphing calculator, you pay a few bucks. You got one on your phone. No.
Yeah, if you literally turn your phone sideways, it's a scientific calculator. That was more technology than they even had.
Yeah, and they
We
were
just have to
super
turn-
expensive back then.
Yeah, we just had to turn our phone
Even
sideways.
computers were.
Simple.
Like, I feel like computers are expensive, but they were way more expensive back then, like over double the price.
Oh yeah, it had to been. And the computers were so big, like as big as rooms, because there was so much equipment needed for it
Yeah,
to run.
I mean, in our phone now is less, way more storage
Yeah,
and processing
yeah.
power than it took to put
The equipment in our phone, was
rocket
more-
in the air.
yeah, was more than what they used to send a man to the moon. They say.
I believe it's only megabytes too. Like my phone holds like 64 megabytes. It's
Mine's
storage and
I got
processes.
164 gigs on
I
my
don't know
phone.
how much the processor is, but it's way more megabytes.
Yeah,
Probably a few gigabytes
yeah.
or something.
That is just crazy stuff that they had that made them tougher. Like I said, we can rely on this stuff. We can rely on all this stuff. We can rely. Now they're coming out with cars that drive themselves. You know, the new generation is not even gonna have to drive. They're not even gonna have to drive. They're literally. We're just building.
I mean,
shield.
we won't even have to drive eventually too.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
They're already coming. They're already out, and so eventually
Yeah,
that'll
in
be
our
the
lifetime.
standard.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
they'll probably be just as cheap as what car are cheap. They're so expensive, but
Yeah.
they'll be probably the same price as cars are now.
Yeah.
I mean, just how it goes. The more efficient they are with production and stuff, the cheaper it can be.
I don't care what they say though. There's nothing going to replace raw horsepower on the road.
See, my dream
And
car's
it's
my
behind
dream car's
your-
a Tesla, but like if I had enough money, I have to get an old ass like Challenger or something, or
Yeah,
Camaro
yeah.
or something. They're just
American muscle.
awesome.
You have to.
And just
that's a
the
car.
feel of them, being in them, hearing them,
riding,
loud as fuck.
just driving that thing and putting that much power down on the pavement is nothing that you can ever experience just sitting in the passenger seat.
Nothing you experience really in a new car either. It's all electric powered.
Yeah, they're all electric.
But they're
yeah.
fast as fuck.
Yeah, they are.
That's
they
why
can
I
put
want a
power
Tesla.
to the road really fast too, because there's no response. Like it's a more direct response to the road, so they have quick takeoff times, but nothing of the power.
Have you ever heard of the Internet of Things?
The Internet of Things.
Yes, it's
Never heard of it.
I'm gonna tie it into the whole like automated cars thing
Alright.
eventually. But what the Internet of Things is all computing devices like cell phones, laptops, smart TVs, and it all includes like smart appliances too, like a microwave. If you had a smart microwave or a
Smart house and
like smart house in general, it's all connected to the internet, which is one thing with Elon Musk bringing wireless internet all over the world.
yeah.
Well, how it happens is they use cloud and fog computing to calculate all this data, and every device that's around each other is connected, and there's a constant flow of data between them. And cloud and fog computing makes this possible. I can't go into detail about that. I haven't done enough research. But what makes it scary, though, is with everything connected, they say by 2020, there will be over 50 billion plus devices connected to the network, all connected together, which is bad in a sense, because each device could have multiple exploits or vulnerabilities for a hacker to get into. So if you have 50 billion plus devices and each one has multiple exploits where a hacker could take advantage of and exploit a system, they say if they can do that with a phone, they can do that with a car. And not only that is like they could hack a car and kill someone.
Yeah,
and
there's
there's evidence of that. I mean, there was a lot of
already
other
happening.
political things I went with some of them.
Yeah,
but
for sure. Yeah, we can get in that on another day.
But they were just scared of that because not only that, like cars are connected to it, they have like utility services for the city, like water and sewage. Like they changed a few things in that they could explode pipes everywhere
Not to
and
I
fuck
mean, or
everything up.
poison.
Yeah,
Poison
that too.
something, kill an entire city's water supply. Yeah, that's the quickest way to, kill a city out is disease.
But at the same time, a lot of the networking and that's being produced is software, and you're able to use scripts or type little programs and install them into what they call routers and switches, which is what the wires are all connected into
Mm-hmm.
for the networks and stuff.
Yeah.
And it actually makes it easier to install security tools via just a command line because it used to be just all hardware, but now it's all a lot of it's software now are moving in that direction, so they can easily install security tools and scripts into the network to be able to prevent these things. But like at the same time, like there's so many devices that they're like I can't
there's
remember
gonna
what
be
this dude did,
precautionary
but
measures, but that's like all the precautionary measures. There's got to be a crack somewhere that someone will find.
there was I can't remember. I know what they went through, but I don't know what they did. They hacked a thermostat. Literally, just hacked a thermostat because it was connected. It was a smart building or home or something. Hacked a thermostat. I don't remember what they did. I don't know if they stole money or whatnot. But just like the concept of able to hack that thing and can do so many different things.
So much more than what a thermostat should.
You could hack a thermostat and still, like if it was a thermostat in a bank, and you get onto it because it's connected to the network.
Yeah, that's
you could steal money, transfer money.
That's crazy, yeah.
Just because you hacked into a thermostat.
Like all I can do with the thermostat is turn the heat on or off.
But a hacker who knows what they're doing could steal all your information.
That's crazy.
They could.
There's
they
potential.
Could fuck with this pocket. They could have control of this computer right now. I mean, if no one is,
potentially.
but they could, and just fuck everything up and steal all your information.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential in there, but all we can really.
But the thing is, it's the future though, because there's a lot of concepts that come with it and a lot of benefits that. It's just the future, so the best way to do it is just prepare the best.
Yeah, and all you can hope is that we get those things like that figured out before we go into that kind of thing. We don't get over our heads, like we take care of those things before we even put that kind of technology out there and connect everything like that. The major systems that could potentially kill a whole city, like the water supply. Like it better have the best damn security and unhackable stuff like the Pentagon. I mean, yeah, the Pentagon's hackable too. Everything
100%.
is, but it's. I mean, the average guy can't just go read a book about this stuff and just go hack the Pentagon. Like you got that kind of stuff is what our water supplies and all that stuff should be running on too. And I would hope that when we do connect all that they would have that kind of protection technology. That's all you can really do. If not, we're fucked. We're gonna die. It'll be horrible.
So I have a
Style.
couple questions that aren't really topics, but just more about you. Maybe I know about, but not everyone else. So what is it you do for like a job, and what is your work currently?
So my current work is I'm a delivery driver for American Wire Rope and Sling, and so what they do and what my company does is we're the middleman of like any sort of chain assembly, wire rope assembly, or even rope or nylon strap assembly. We can literally make it all. We assemble it all and we custom rig it to whatever. Like a crane wants to lift up a certain object and they need this certain rig to make that, we make that. They'll just tell us what they want and we make it. But the reason we're the middleman is we just get all that rope and all the nylon and all that. We just buy big stocks of it and giant spools. And then we cut it down. We put hooks and all the good stuff, the links and all that stuff. We the ratchets, the binders, and all that. We put all that on there, and then the customer gets a finished product. And so I deliver the finished product, and I also make it.
You do put it together sometimes too.
Yeah. So I, if I get back early, I work the floor and I make the stuff too. So I kind of do a lot of different things all at once, but mainly my main title is I deliver the product, and so I get to go to all these giant companies like Steel Dynamics in Columbia City and Butler. They're just huge place. Like there's just it seems like miles in there. I get to go and experience different companies of and how they operate, how their system works, because I have to go in there and basically like give them something and they have to plug it into their system and get all that stuff. And so it's kind of neat, and I get to travel all over Indiana to I go into like I went into Ohio today, get to go all over the place, and it's kind of fun. It's I thought I wouldn't like it right off the bat, because just driving, I was like, oh, I'm going to drive 8 hours a day. I'll be tired. I'll fall asleep at the wheel and kill civilians or something, it'd be horrible. But no, like I didn't think it through. Like delivering, it's not bad. I drive for maybe half an hour at a time. I mean, or an hour at a time. An hour. Everyone can drive an hour at a time without being super sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad because you're just stopping and going, but. It's not a bad job. I don't mind it.
But you listen to podcasts and stuff too, like the Joe Rogan a lot, and you learn a lot of different things. And I love watching him too. So if I was driving, that's probably what I'd be playing too.
Yeah. So
not even so much music. I'd love just to listen to them talk and to be able to think about what he's talking about.
I like learning all kinds of new things, and so the Joe Rogan podcast is a good one that you can just listen to all the time, learn a bunch of new stuff all the time. And so I just kind of like listening to that one. I want to get into I don't know how you do the audio for books. Like, is there some sort of like iTunes or some shit that a bunch of books?
Yeah, they have their own podcast section.
Oh well, I would like to listen to a bunch of books, like good books.
Oh, you're talking about books? Yeah, they have their own books. I think they actually Apple has their own app for that. And everything.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool, just to like pick some good books that I thought would be interesting.
And they're really cheap, and you get them off. You can also download there's different apps like Audible. You can buy books through the app and just listen to them. Yeah, and they'll play while you're driving. I knew there was
some way to do it. I just never really looked into it because
it's an app. Just download it.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
It'll take you through it.
You'll figure it out. It'll walk you through the shit. Well, all right. What about you? What's your day job?
So I work actually at IPFW. I'm working the Information Technology Services. I'm a network application specialist, student worker. Basically, what I do day to day is I create when a new update comes out for like anything, any math software or engineering software, or any software, like even Google Chrome or Firefox. Yeah, and I create those deployments in a software called SCCM. It's like a software central management. I don't remember the whole name, but I create scripts and stuff too for the software, whatever it may be, Google Chrome, say, to install silently in the background of your computer while you're working on other things, or to update automatically on every computer on campus, or to even install it silently where you don't see anything. It just takes it off your system by a click of a button. I just control all or it's actually a program on the computer called Software Center. All those apps on there, I want to say I've done all of them, but a lot of them I've done myself that I've created, and that's what I do day to day. And then I just do the basic IT stuff, like upgrading hard drives or SSDs, or upgrading graphics card, or installing new computers. And I do some licensing stuff. So if an engineering software, you need a license. You need to purchase a license for that. Mm-hmm. We purchase a license, or however many we need. We put on a server, and then we have those computers and the ETCS engineering tech building, the labs in there, connect to that server to be able to run that software and stuff. So that's the basis of what I do. But majority of it's the application deployments, deploying this new software out to campus.
Yeah. That's all stuff that I have no idea how to even kind of operate, and that's why you're the wizard of this operation here.
Yeah, sure. I'll teach you though. You'll learn. You'll learn. I'll teach you.
He's running the equipment here. I definitely can't figure out that. That's why this man is here.
How long have you worked there?
Worked there, not quite 3 months yet, so I'm pretty new still, but getting it figured out really fast. I feel like if it's hands-on kind of stuff, I pick up on it super fast, and that stuff.
I mean, they have you basically doing everything. You're driving and working on the
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So.
Like Fridays, I only work the floor, so I get whatever orders, it is, of the day or of that week. I run them, and then, like I say, if I got only a few orders, if we're going through a little bit of slow time, I'll be back every day of that week and just be working the floor. It's not a bad job though. A lot of people are. I like everyone that works there at least, and today they did a cookout for us. That's pretty cool.
What'd you have?
They did jalapeno brats.
What?
Brats? Yeah, they cooked
You ever
us
had
some
beer
burgers.
brats?
Yeah, I cooked
Those
them in
are
beer. Like
ama-
if you ever
yeah.
boil them in beer,
That's the best way
it
to
will
have 'em.
really reek your place up. But damn,
Is
is
it
that a good
good?
brat?
Oh
It is
my
a
God,
good
I'm hungry
brat.
now. Get stoned
I'm
and
getting
fucking
brats
eat.
after this. Yeah, let's get brats. Coney Island, maybe.
That sounds wonderful. And it's cheap.
Heck
Broke
yeah.
ass. So I've been working at there for December 4th was like my year, and now I'm like maybe 4 or 5 more months into it.
Yeah, you really get the whole. I feel like after a year, you damn near know most of the stuff that happens at wherever you're working. If you've been there a year, I mean, literally anywhere, like you're not a rookie anymore.
I feel you.
Not a rookie anymore.
But now I'm hoping I have actually applied for another position there for a system admin student employee, which is like what I want to eventually go into cybersecurity, which is protecting networks. But to protect a network, you have to understand a network first, and that's what a sysadmin does. Is he controls the network and also a network engineer. But so I applied for that job and actually had an interview today, and I thought it went really well. But I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
But being able to, and it's actually the same place too, at IPFW, so it'll be an easy transition. But just being
like
able
a
to get that
promotion,
job though, because
basically.
like that's what I want to first go into before I get into cybersecurity. That would be nice experience and stuff. Like I was talking to one of the other people who went there, who has like a few of the networking Cisco exam I was talking about earlier that I'm training for.
Mm-hmm.
He applied for a job to see if he could get it, and they offered him like $50,000 a year. And he's only a student employee. He hasn't even graduated college yet. He has a couple certificates and working on some more, and has that networking experience.
Yeah, that's not
Not
bad
even
at
graduated.
all.
He's only 2 years in. I'm pretty sure he's a sophomore,
That's not bad at all.
or might be a junior. But
You can easily live off $50,000.
and so like being able to get that experience and then work the last 2 years of my college career, the junior and senior year, and get out and possibly, and hopefully I'll have a few certificates by then. That's the plan. And then I would start out, find a job that would hopefully pay me that much. And then what I would do is I would just study for the other exams and, find a new job and then get paid even more.
Yeah, just keep moving up, yeah.
100%. So do you like your job, though?
Yeah, I really do. I love it. It's nice.
Well, you're an outdoorsy man, hands-on, so
yeah,
I figured.
I would much rather do, like, hands-on instead of just driving. Driving gets kind of boring after a while.
That makes sense, yeah.
I kind of like to fuck with other drivers around me. I'll make faces at them or, crazy stuff just to see what they do. But I get bored a lot,
I feel you. I would, too.
I don't mind manual labor jobs, really. I'm still young, so, yeah, I hurt a little bit the next day, but I don't mind it. It feels good.
Okay. So what are the aspects you like about it, or even aspects you don't like about it?
My current job?
Yeah.
I like that I can just leave the factory. It's just me. It's just me in there, and there's no one else yelling at me, telling me to do anything.
Just get your shit done.
I literally just have a pack of stuff that I have to get done, and I just gotta go do it. It's just me there. I can do my own thing, think my own thing, and just be in my own head, just listening to my own thing all day. That's what I really like.
I love to. I listen to music all day, blur whatever I want.
Yeah, so I'll normally listen to a couple podcasts, and then my day isn't over yet, so that I'll just jam to music the rest of the time. If I'm feeling sleepy, I'll turn on some music and start getting riled up.
Get you crazy.
Yeah, get me crazy a little bit. Just feeling crazy.
How are
Listen
your
to some Rocky.
How are your coworkers? Are they pretty cool? Or
Yeah, all
how are
my
your bosses? You're talking about your CEO. You told me.
Yeah,
He's a dope dude.
yeah. So all my bosses are or all the people I work with are pretty cool individuals. They're all I guess I would say they're all normal people.
Just
They're not.
chill, relax, just
Yeah,
having
they're
a good
definitely
time.
chill. We're out there just working, but busting balls, but not like breaking backs. It's
Yeah.
chill. It's my boss. He's doing all kind like the CEO. He's doing all kinds of stuff with the wire rope thing. I think he's about to.
Give me your charging cable for the computer.
I don't think I have. Oh, right there. Well, fucking. Yeah, no, there's no way. Here, I'll move it. It's not even fucking plugged in. Just plug it in behind her or behind that chair there. Here, I'll get it. It's not even fucking plugged in.
But
the hell?
your CEO, you say he works out on the floor a lot.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like about him. He's so this
Which not
I
a lot
mean
of
yeah,
business owners
not a lot of
do,
business
or
owners will
CEOs.
get out on the floor and work like I just moved.
And he has a big company too.
Yeah, he has a big company, he definitely and so another thing is most CEOs won't do that kind of stuff like work on the floors because they're too busy.
Well, yeah.
With all the
CEO's
other
a different
stuff.
job title.
Yeah, but this guy will
Yeah, there's a
still
lot more
find
paperwork
time.
and negotiating and whatnot.
I couldn't imagine. I've never owned a company. I'd
Mhm.
like to, but I never have yet. And
It's a
so
plan.
never couldn't imagine what the paperwork and everything would be. But so yeah, he'll come onto the floor and we'll he'll be out there yanking on wires and pulling wire ropes out with us and measuring them, and he'll be out there getting his hands dirty. He don't care, which is I think a respectable thing. Like you look at mass corporations, you don't see that CEO out there doing what the basically like a janitor would be doing. You don't see that.
Well, not whatsoever.
I mean, there's that show out there, Undercover Bosses, but
That's a good show. Have you ever watched it?
yeah, it's bomb.
Some of them are stupid, but some of them are really
I
good.
like how they
Some of
will
them
get
really
in
good.
there with the people. Like that's what they need more of. They
Mhm.
how we were talking about earlier. They disconnected themselves from that.
Mhm.
We disconnected ourselves from the hard labor. That's what they did.
See, even if like I started my own company, I don't think I'd be disconnected mainly because I wouldn't be. I don't want to be that. I wouldn't be that fucking big. I'd have my own like probably local company to start off with, so I'd still be connected. And to be honest, I'd be the CEO of my own company, but I just started it, so I'd be doing all the work.
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
Because doing whatever
And plus,
whatever
like,
I'm
when
providing.
you're just starting out,
but
it'd be so hard to trust other people like with your stuff.
well, that's
know what I mean?
at
Like
that
that-
time. That's when you put out hiring applications or like on whatever the websites are looking for people.
Yeah,
That's why you interview people and people apply who have those credentials and
yeah, exactly.
qualifications and certificates or degrees, whatever the job may be.
The requirements for the job and just but a lot of that is just all paper stuff. Yeah, they got this, they got
But
this.
you need
they're
someone to do
horrible
that,
people
though.
Too.
Yeah, I get
You
you.
know.
Well, that's why you just fire them and get a new person
Yeah, fire them.
if they're that bad.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But my work, I really like it. But the new job I applied for, I like it. I'd like to do it way better because I'm passionate about it and I'd enjoy it more. It's actually what I want to go into.
It's like
But I mean, I love my job. I love the people who I work with. Like my employer, like gives me like random like gift bags out of the year, just like feel like candy or something. It,
Hell
like gives me
yeah.
Christmas gifts and stuff. Like he got me a fucking for Christmas got me a mug with the poop emoji on it, and it says "oh shit" in the inside of it. Just like he's cool,
yeah,
dude.
heck
Just
yeah, that's cool.
everyone that I work there with is just dope. So it's a really fun environment. I love working there.
Heck yeah.
Not only that, they give me a raise every 3 months, so that's dope.
Yeah, that would be nice.
100%.
Everyone would like that.
But the one thing I don't like about my current job is like I have a lot of free time. I would like to be doing something. Plus,
Yeah,
like I'm working in the IT services. I want to work on things. I want to experience things so I can.
You want to stay
have-
busy. No one likes
yeah.
a slow day.
Well, not only that is I want to learn new things, and so I
Push
understand
yourself,
more
yeah.
things, have more skills to offer for
Yeah.
put on my resume to get a better job, work for a higher company, and be an employee there just to have a better chance because
Yeah.
I have the skills.
Yeah, I'd like to start getting into little side jobs of construction. Like I do a lot of good trim work. I can put up almost any sort of trim work. I can do it pretty good, and I'd like to get into little side jobs of that. And well, I can really do damn near anything with a house, but whether I can do it good as an expert or not, like I know what's going on with electric. I know that pretty decently, but
Well, I mean, if you're going into construction, getting your own construction company, the future is smart homes. So that's something you should look into. Or you could hire someone for that.
Well,
Someone who knows stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Or you can teach yourself. I mean, or
So
take classes too. You could do
the
that.
thing with smart homes is that it's still home. Like it's still home. It's not really engineered any differently. It is slightly. It's slightly. Like
I know,
the
but
kitchen
like to be
layouts-
able to have the skills to engineer the network in a home and stuff, like
Yeah.
you'll get paid a lot more because a lot more
Yeah,
people
for
want
sure.
that because it's just how the civilization is going, society's going. They want everything's technology, and it's
Wouldn't
just
it be
that's the future.
shit? Wouldn't it be the shit if you woke up and as soon as your alarm went off, your shower started and coffee started brewing?
That's
Yeah,
the
that's real
Internet
stuff
of
that's
Things, bro.
happening right
Internet
now.
of Things right there. Like
That
they
is
say, like
real-
the devices, like I said, communicate with each other. All the surrounding
yeah,
devices.
that's real stuff that you can do with a smart home.
Well, one of the other things here, I did a paper about it this semester. One of the examples I used was using a smart home and have the Internet of Things and everything connected and communicating. Like, let's say there was like your bus like crashed. Like, if you take the bus to work and it like had an accident or something, and it was reported or something was on news, your smart home would get that information.
and tell you.
It would change your alarm clock to wake up earlier. Like, let's say you had to drive there
No
instead.
shit.
And it would start your coffee like 10 minutes before you wake up, so that way when you wake up it's fresh.
That's crazy.
And it would change all that for you.
Yeah.
And it would and with cars being automated and connected, it would start your car, like say if it's cold outside
Yeah.
and warms it up.
that
And by
really
the time
is
you're
the
out
future.
there, like,
That really is the
It
future. It's
is.
gonna happen.
it's
I
gonna
mean,
be fucking
maybe not
crazy.
so much with I don't know how long it'll take before like the middleman. How do you say it? Not the middleman. I keep thinking middle age, but the middle Americans, like
Middle
finance,
class?
middle class. Good lord, I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Worthless.
Yeah, the middle class. Like it'll be a while before we really get that. I think, but it's
Well,
it's
especially with, like,
branching,
how-
it's branching lower. Like used to be just millionaires are getting. Now it's branching a little bit lower and lower. It's more
Well, because I mean,
affordable.
when technology advances, Moore's law comes into code with learning new technologies. Processors and things become smaller, more efficient, cheaper, way cheaper to make, and available and affordable
Yeah.
to lower class and
Yeah.
whatnot.
That's what Elon Musk is doing a lot of. I mean, he literally brought out a whole line of flamethrowers that were affordable for middle class.
I think it was actually a fundraiser for something.
I
I'm pretty
don't
sure
know,
he
but
just
you
sold
could get-
flamethrowers
Yeah,
for like a fundraiser.
you
I
could
think
get a
that's what it was, but I
flamethrower.
could be wrong.
Like what was it, like $700 or something like that?
I don't know.
I mean,
man.
honestly, a middle class person could afford that. That's what is that? That's basically a new TV.
Possibly, yeah.
Well, a flamethrower is a hell of a lot more fun, I think. So I'd probably get that.
Pretty close to your mouth. But
I would definitely have a lot more fun with a flamethrower.
100%
I would get in trouble. I would definitely get in trouble. I burned something down, something bad. Myself.
So what about sports? What sports do you like? I know you did a lot of wrestling and you did Hapkido, which we might do this summer actually and get into.
Yeah, hoping to get back into Hapkido. I done some karate. I like karate. That was some fun stuff. It was a different style karate. But the main martial art did was wrestling, and I did that
for
through
7
middle school
years.
and high school, and that was, it was a hell of a time. I loved wrestling. I miss it every day that I'm not in anymore. You know,
I'm missing out. That's why I go back through the summers and winter time and wrestle with them.
because you also
Just
wrestle
shows me
too,
how
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for a while, and it just shows me how out of shape I am.
Oh yeah,
how
there's
much of a
being-
piece of shit I am.
like only wrestlers understand that there's being in shape and then there's wrestling shape. There is like you're fit, you can be fit and sculpted, but your lungs and your physical stamina is
you
not.
won't get tired over anything.
After you wrestle and you're in wrestling shape, there's literally nothing you could be out there just running all day and you will be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be breathing right, won't really be sweating that hard. You could run for all day. It's just the physical stamina that your body gets from wrestling is just unlike anything else.
What I would used to do is I used to run cross country.
Same.
Our football program wasn't the best. And
I played
that and
football too,
I
yeah.
ran cross instead, and like we would have cross country practice all throughout the year, but I wouldn't during wrestling season. But after I come out of wrestling season and like get into like track, and I would get back into cross country sessions and practices, like on the weekends or something, I just would be fine. It's just I was fast and I had the air capacity in my lungs, and I was able to keep up. I mean, I wasn't the best, but
yeah.
There was times we would go on long runs and we'd go for like 10 miles. And after that, I'd be like dead, but like I wasn't dead. I was fine.
Just think of the cross country practices that you would have. We would do probably a minimum of 4 miles a day. Like 5 days a week, you're running 4 miles.
But usually when we did that, they were workouts. So like a majority of that
yeah,
was like
so they would be like
sprinting.
sprint and stops.
We would run like a mile and then like run like an 800.
Yeah.
And then like run a 400 and 200 and 100 and climb all the way back up the ladder.
Yeah,
it was crazy, and we were just sprinting at like half miles at a time, and
we
were able to do it and
effortlessly.
I would say cross country is kind of up there with it's just being able, because
it's more than football
because it's long
distance.
It's long distance wrestling, but they are going fast.
Yeah,
they go quick.
Those
and
top guys that run
state,
yeah, they are booking it. They're booking it. They are going faster than I can sprint, I think. They're just long-legged, and they're just striding it out. They're booking it for, 3 miles straight, which is ridiculous. I just did cross-country to stay in shape for wrestling.
Well, that's why I did it, too. I was like, I had to do something. And it was good, too.
Heck
wrecked
yeah.
me. I was ready for wrestling, but even when I got into wrestling, I was dead because wrestling's just another level.
I was in running shape. I wasn't wrestling shape. There's a difference.
100% difference.
Yeah. There's nothing like wrestling shape. The only other thing that I think is damn close, that a high school sport, I would say, would be swimming. Swimming, those guys are tough. They are using muscles that the normal person doesn't use.
A lot of it would be shoulders and a lot of back muscle, too.
Yeah.
Because when you
core,
do this pulling motion,
they're twisting. It's all in the core.
It's all your back.
Yeah. Those guys are pretty tough too. They're endurance.
We used to do that a lot, actually. We would go, and they had swimming practices were every morning and night. But sometimes we would go in the morning and practice with them, and then the wrestling people would go. We would wrestle at the end of the day, at the end of school day.
And you guys would go in there?
No, we would go in the morning and practice with the swim team, and then at the end of the day, we would wrestle. But we didn't. I don't know how many times we did that, but we did, especially in more towards like the state or sectionals tournament, state tournament. We would go every morning and night.
Oh, no kidding. Didn't do that.
Well, not with the
only
swim team, but wrestling.
With wrestling. The only time our wrestlers we would get in the pool was on 2 days at the start of the season. It was like Tuesdays and Thursdays was pool day, and we would work our ass off in that pool. I mean, die.
I don't know how many times I've been in there. We went in there and it just gets killer. It is. A lot of shoulder work and that shit fucking
It's harder to breathe too. It's harder to breathe. Like your breathing is thrown off when you're like submerged.
Because during at some point there's no air to breathe because you are submerged. So your breathing patterns are thrown off.
Yeah, we done underwater swimming. We did it all. And there were some kids that couldn't even swim. We were forcing them in there like you're just gonna thrash around and get tough.
Back in high school, I was more muscular and I have as much fat.
Oh, for
and
sure.
so
yeah.
muscle's more dense, and so
Yeah.
like swimming, that means just swimming more hard because it's denser than water, and so all your body wants to do is just sink.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
so not only that, you're swimming to keep yourself up. And
Yep.
that just made it 10 times harder.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, damn near all the wrestlers were solid bricks. What are we running at?
We're like 129 right now.
Oh hell yeah. Well, I think we ought to wrap this up then.
That was a good ass.
Yeah, I think we
Definitely.
covered a lot of stuff, and so hopefully next week we're gonna have a guest. I don't 100% know what it is, who he is, but I'm hoping it'll be Eric Tiptman, who's the professor we were talking about.
I hope he comes. Yeah.
Hopefully, but he's a busy guy, and this kind of shortish notice on scheduling him. So if we don't get him next week, we're gonna get someone else. And
Hopefully, but speaking of that, I was talking about to Nate about like because he's a producer here and local producer here.
oh yeah, you were talking about
He
that.
just texted me during this podcast saying Zion. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah,
him,
I've
but
heard of Zion.
he's a local rapper here, and he wants to come on the podcast and talk too.
Yeah,
He'd be
for
down
sure.
for it. Him
Yeah.
and Nate, it'd be dope as fucking.
Hell yeah.
They know more people that I'm sure we could fucking just
Yeah,
interview.
Yeah, we're gonna. So that's the goal of this podcast.
And then
you
we can advertise them, and they can advertise us. And
Yeah.
it just works.
That's the goal of this
great.
podcast. Is we're trying to meet a whole bunch of new people.
Learn a bunch of new things.
Learn a bunch of new things by meeting them. We want to be taught. That's the reason we're bringing them on there. They know more about a topic than what we know about, and they're
Well,
experts in it.
'Cause
So
they
we
know all
want
their
them to
life.
teach us, and so that's kind of our goal in this podcast. And we're going to cover a lot of new stuff. And so, like I said, hopefully next week we're getting the topics into like GMO and stem cell research and stuff like that.
Gene splicing,
Gene
and
splicing.
mutation.
We're hoping to cover that next week, and if that doesn't come out, then I don't know. I got a whole bunch of list of bomb ass topics we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna try and find somebody credible for them, and that's about it. I think that's a wrap.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in.
This has been the Long Trip Podcast.